know what'll break up your production cycle? Tour. Okay, fast as I can manage, here's the Negative Hole tour.
Kicking off a tour on Monday makes sense in Seattle because we left from playing Metal Monday to 2-Bit. I put together a little board for Negative Hole. It's somewhat smaller than the Ubik pedal board. It's a cigar box. Our Tri-Cities gig fell through. You can't win them all. No one wants to drive from Seattle, Washington to Bozeman, Montana, so we stopped in Spokane. Visited friends, trimmed buds, watched Slapshot. We borrowed Elvis's family's Lincoln SUV. No one stole it or smashed its windows. Behold, the Negative Hole Circus. U-Hole. There isn't enough time to recount all of Negative Hole's hole puns. Why Bozeman? Because another Seattle stoner metal band was already playing in Missoula. The trip had the consistent feeling of driving away from where you'd be playing shows. Montana has really nice rest stops. Our misgivings were unfounded. The filling station in Bozeman was amazing. Play there. The mosh pit was nuts. A guy came charging out with an empty 18-pack of Obi on his head. Someone put 50 cents on our back bumper. Those 2 quarters stayed there all tour. Those dreads aren't just ornamental. They're a fully functional cat toy. Welcome back to Bird's Tiki Lounge. Nice marquee, dude. Yeah, that's a banjo. At our Salt Lake City show, we were the only ones on a 4-band bill not to feature a banjo. By volume difference alone, we had the crowd in our first 20 seconds. Salt Lake was the first shower of tour. Thanks, Adam. There were only a few CDs in the car. 2 of them were the Melvin's Houdini. We got a tape adapter. It didn't work. Our personal players were only useful through a radio adapter, which became useless when we got near a city. So I switched to local radio. That was the Rolling Stones. They're from England. Thanks, Salt Lake City DJ. Until you find the rack of CDs at a truck stop. Michelle rocks out the sticks harder than anyone not driving a Camaro ever has. And there's this. I think Utah is maybe 3 cities suspended in salt flats. Nevada rest stops never have a working water fountain. Got into Reno early, walked to the venue, and one of the 3 patrons in the bar was throwing bar stools, punching walls, and eating cigarette butts. I'd gladly do an episode on the Vampirates, but it was impossible not to get hit in that room. We have very little merch, and no recordings. Never before have I been asked if I want to pay the rent tonight. And what's with the creepy paintings of children on everything? Reno, you're a weird town. I don't know about the $35 motel room. We got the $29 one, for which we actually paid $53. I only lived in California for a couple years, but coming back here gives me a nostalgic pang. Wow, the Sax show was a lot of broken gear and blood. Not ours. It is good to stay in houses with dogs. Quick stop to U-Haul Sacramento, repaired our trailer's brake lights. Nice. No trailer switching, no gear unloading. Had to play some Dave Brockie Experience in Guar on the way into the mountains because, oh man, it'd take a full episode to explain how sad that makes me and why. A day off in Pine Grove with Michelle's mom. Again, we both moved to Seattle from around here. Everything around Sonora closes at 9 o'clock. Tim and Elvis crashed, Michelle and I went to the Oli Open Bar for miles. Dusty passed away after we left. Awesome cat. And, you know, bears. Gotta love a venue that loves dogs. Eli's in Oakland seems to watch shows like I do, attentively, but without a lot of emoting. We're under 15 seconds. We have hats. I can't begin to explain how awesome that is. For our day off, we got hammered at Berkeley Karaoke. What's up, Bailey? Seriously, lots of dogs on tour. Oakland knows about Hole. If you hand someone $15 to cross a toll bridge, maybe they shouldn't look at you like you handed them a turd. Just saying. The benefit of staying in Arcata before heading to Eugene is traveling 101. Redwood Forest and oceanfront views. Big improvement over I-5. Whoa, Tiny Tavern, you were not misnamed. And we know so many people in Portland, but we just couldn't line anything up. So here we are. Those quarters are still on the back bumper.
Getting back from tours like mistiming your first step off an escalator. Takes a second to regain your balance, but okay, I'm back, and about touring. I hate to keep harping on this, no I don't, but those major label trashing motel rooms, tour bus loaded with strippers, label-backed pharmaceutical supplier days of rock and roll tourdom are done. Even in the days when music made with guitars could sell a #1 record, the keys to the land of rock and roll hedonism were held by big guys in suits that granted access based on their own shady accounting. It was always kinda like playing the lottery, crossing your fingers for some $1 million jackpot that you have a mathematically insignificant chance of winning.
Hey! Gonna make it. Yes, we are.
Now, with the major labels dying, the land of rock and roll hedonism shrinking like Fantasia, and the green room mostly dominated by the Katy Perrys of the world, just accept that the massive major label tour just isn't a prize left in that lottery. You either need to put down the guitar and pirate a copy of Autotune, or maybe go to Hollywood. Seems like they're still offering lottery tickets for superstardom.
The odds of winning mathematically insignificant.
So if you want to put your band on the road, you're going to have to do it yourself. In the world of Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, and BitTorrent, live shows still have currency. They can't be downloaded, they have to be experienced in real life. And what's more, I don't know many bands where their album really stands up to seeing them live. Assuming that's why you do this whole plugging into large amplification devices thing, you'll eventually want to spread it around, and there's really only one way to do that. I can only barely imagine what it was like in those days. Quarters for payphones to contact clubs, out-of-date road atlases, flyering the town on the day of the show. Cell phones and Wi-Fi have changed the way we promote, book, and find these shows, though if you were to travel back in time with news of 2014, I don't know what the denizens of 1984 would find more unbelievable, the internet or the price of gas. But you're still climbing into a van with a bunch of gear and striking out into the world, mostly into towns where you don't know anybody and very few people have ever heard of you. It's a big part of what I like about this in the first place, the difference between staying home and making bedroom recordings and lugging your gear up on the stage. If I could pull it off, I'd never stop touring, but that gets pretty questionable the first time you need a dentist. So, living in a van with 2 to 4 other people, well, you're gonna need clothes, I'd say about a week's worth. That's about as much as I can carry in a duffel or a big-ass shoulder bag. Yeah, you're gonna have to do laundry eventually, so having a bunch of quarters may help you out, but it's not really worthwhile to travel with your entire wardrobe. If you bring a garbage bag, you can use it to store dirty clothes and keep your clean stuff from smelling like old socks. If you have one of those neat little toiletries bags, cool. I don't. I dump all that stuff in a big Ziploc bag. It's a good idea to get those snap cases for your toothbrush and a bar of soap. Yes, you should bring soap. Actually, you should bring everything you'll need to clean up as well as you can in a highway rest stop, where everything is out of order. Toothbrush, toothpaste, mouthwash, especially good to have if there's no running water, soap, deodorant, and a bottle of hand sanitizer and/or baby wipes, also because there may be a lack of running water. It's not ideal, but you may be going several days without a shower. Hand sanitizer gets the job done. Oh yeah, and a towel.
If you're gonna survive out there, you've really got to know where your towel is.
I've got a really compact sleeping bag, so it and a pillow also fit in my one big bag, which is good because you'll be lugging this stuff from the car to whatever floor you're sleeping on pretty much every night. Sleeping bags are a good idea regardless, but especially if you have to sleep in the van. On my first tour, we brought tents. Seemed like a good idea if you couldn't find a place to crash, but tents proved pretty useless. Most camping stops off the freeway are just RV parking with well-defined no tents restrictions, and the real campgrounds are far enough off the main highways to be more time and gas money than they're worth. Road food is always handy, usually something resealable. Trail mix is a good bet. I can live on a jar of salsa and a bag of tortilla chips, so I've got that going for me. Energy drinks will keep you awake when you're rolling, and there's always truck stop coffee, and you'll want some water on hand too. Know what's awesome? Google Maps. Having at least one smartphone in the vehicle is really handy, and all the cables and cigarette lighter plugins for power you can manage. But don't use it as a source of music in the car, incoming calls are annoying. Hopefully everyone in the van has an MP3 player, because everyone should have a chance at the car stereo, and no one's gonna like everything everyone plays all the time, so headphones. Actually, earbuds, the noise blocking ones, because at least one of your bandmates snores, I guarantee it. Earplugs are fine too, but if you're not the first one to fall asleep every night, you're gonna find out the hard way which band members snore. And this may not be absolutely necessary, but bring something to entertain yourself when you're not driving. There can be some long hauls between towns, and there's portable DVD players and laptops and handheld gaming systems. Me, I finished 2 novels on this tour. Seriously. The road between Bozeman, Montana and Salt Lake City, Utah is a long one, and I'm not one of those guys who can't read in a moving vehicle. And vehicle basics, some jumper cables, a spare tire. You don't have to be able to fix the entire car on the road, but you might want to bring some tools. As well as music essentials, extra strings, picks, drumsticks, maybe drum heads, some cables couldn't hurt. Anyway, that may not be absolutely everything, but it ought to be enough to keep you alive on the road for a few weeks. If you've got any tour survival tips or tools, hook me up. I'm always on the lookout.